everybody. This is Sandra Fidelis. Thank you for being with me once again. Today, I'm talking to Karen Yankovich. She is a wonderful, wonderful LinkedIn expert that I've spoken to before. She has so much information to share with you about LinkedIn. And today, she's going to share with us how to generate leads for your business through LinkedIn. And so Karen, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is the CEO of Uplevel Media, and she has a focused approach to business and life. She offers coaching and consulting for entrepreneurs, and her unique specialty blends her get it done attitude with passion for soulful living and her personal services and online workshops. She's also the host of Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I love that name. And LinkedIn evangelist. She guides entrepreneurs to creating wealth by combining smart business practices with simple, proven systems that develop and maintain strong customer relationships. Welcome once again, Karen.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
One of the social media channels that I get asked about a lot that I really can't speak to on an expert basis, on an expert level, is LinkedIn. The way that I use LinkedIn is really to connect more with people who I want to partner with. And I don't really know how to kind of teach people how to generate leads from LinkedIn. So I wanted to, call in the experts, and this is what you do. You have a really cool signature program specifically for generating leads and getting your business up and running through LinkedIn. So share with us, what are some of the misconceptions that people have about LinkedIn marketing?
So if I could just kind of put this back on you a little bit and say, honestly, what you're doing on LinkedIn may very well be the most profitable way to use LinkedIn, right? Because if you are like, we've all gotten those LinkedIn connection requests that are like, hey, I want to connect with you and tell me about your 401k, right? Like people can sniff out somebody that's looking to just pitch them in a heartbeat. The reality is LinkedIn's all business, right? So just by virtue of the fact that we're there means that you're there to market your business, right? We're there to grow our brands, to grow our business, just like if we go to a business conference or a business networking event, right? So you don't have to pitch. One of the great ways to use LinkedIn to reach your ideal audience, to get more leads, and this is kind of, let me take a step back and say that, when I ask people, coaches, consultants, people, how do you get leads for your highest ticket offers, because that is what LinkedIn is best used for. 99 out of 100 times they tell me referrals, right? Yet we're posting a million times on all these other platforms. I'm not here to diss all the other platforms. I'm here to say, let's find a way to make referrals repeatable. And one of the ways to do that is to do what you talked about, building relationships with people that have an audience similar to yours, right? So I'll give you an example. I have like this, what we're doing here right now, right, is a good example of that. If you're the people watching this, I'm borrowing your credibility because you brought me here, right? So there's some sense of, she wouldn't have brought her here if she didn't know what she was talking about. So I get a little bit of extra credibility for that. I am the same person as if you had met me on the street, right? But if you had met me on the street, you wouldn't know I have any credibility. If you had meet me one-on-one on LinkedIn, you don't know that I have any credibility. So for my business, the way that I generate leads and the way that many of my clients generate leads on LinkedIn is by doing this, right? I like to have 2 or 3 opportunities a week where I'm in front of other people's audiences. And that is how I grow leads for my business. Not everyone that watches is a good fit, but if some people are listening, I get a little bit of cred, right? Because I get to borrow your cred. And if they like what I'm saying and they feel that we vibe, then maybe they'll ask what it would look like to do a little bit more together. And that is the best way to get leads on LinkedIn. So much better than just pitching people. But the key is, I said early on that I look to do 2 or 3 of these kinds of things a week. You need to be consistent. You need to be consistently connecting with new people every single week that have audiences that you think might be interested in the kinds of things that you do. And by the way, sometimes it works both ways, right? So it's just a great way to build out your LinkedIn network in a really powerful way.
Yeah. And that I love that you highlighted you have to do it consistently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because if you ask anyone, who's struggling with their business or with getting clients, what are you doing, right? Consistently. Well, I don't really like to do that. I don't like to, do online training. I don't like to do webinars. I don't really want to reach out to that person so that I can get in front of their audience, right?
Right.
So consistency.
Right. And it's so different than sales. It's truly just conversation. It's truly just, hey, I'd like it to be warm. Hey, I saw you, I saw you were on, Karen introduced me to you, or I saw you in this article, or we're both members of this chamber of commerce, whatever that is, but do it in a micro targeted way, right? And say, I checked you out and I love what you're doing. I'd love to hear more about it, because you know what? I have an audience that's similar. Maybe there's an opportunity to collaborate, right? So that's all you're doing is just conversation. Now, there is another level to this. I think that's, by the way, the best way to use LinkedIn. The next level down, the second best way to use LinkedIn is to build, and it's all about building relationships, right? Not making sales. Building relationships with the people that are in the media that write about what you're expert in, right? Who are the podcast hosts? Who are the YouTube hosts? Who are the, who's on CNBC that talks about what you talk about? Who's on, NBC.com, whether it's online magazines, in-person magazines, who are the journalists that write stories about what you're an expert in? And are you building relationships with them on LinkedIn? And that is another way to borrow their credibility and get in front of, a large audience. I spoke to someone this morning who is joining our program, and she's a life coach, but she's a fairly new life coach, so she doesn't have a ton of testimonials yet. So where she can get credibility is to get some publicity. If she's the one that's as seen on NBC, as seen in these places, and it's not hard to do that, then that gives her some credibility and she's good at what she does, right? She's really good at what she does, but she's got to build up her bank of testimonials, and that comes you can't do anything to make that happen faster, right? It just comes with as you work with people. But what she can do is build up some credibility with the media. So It's not, you're not going to get a ton of clients by being on, NBC, but what you will do is you'll get the credibility, and it helps you land those $5,000 or $10,000 clients because you have that cred that other people in your industry don't have.
Right. The social proof. Can you share with us what was like one of your best stories around, connecting with somebody for publicity on LinkedIn?
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many, but I can think of one person. She's a realtor. And she's a realtor on the West Coast. And first of all, you have to have a great profile. All these things we're talking about don't work as well if you don't have a great profile. Having a great profile is great, but not if you don't do anything else with it. But if you're going to do all these connecting things, make sure you've done the profile work first. So she had a great profile. What she would do is she would look for people that write about real estate in the national news, right? So there was an article on NBCnews.com about real estate. So she connected with the writer of that article, and then tagged and shared it all over the place, tagging the writer and saying, loved this article by this person. Do you think about this when you list your house or whatever? Like added some, not just, like she maybe added some like her point of view to it, right? Of course, the journalists loved that because we love when people share our stuff, right? They love when people share it. And then, of course, thanked her, messaged her, thanked her. And then a couple of days later, reached out and said, I have another article that I'm writing. Can I ask you a few questions? And it turned out, and she said, of course, she said yes, right? Turned into a full page article on NBCnews.com, just interviewing my client about housing prices. Now, so first of all, she can legitimately use as seen on NBC. But second of all, she's on the West Coast. I'm not really sure how much value it would be if somebody in, Montana or Georgia saw that article. But what it does do is it gives her that credibility, right? Realtors have so much competition. So now when she goes out on a listing appointment, she can drop that. Of course, she's got it printed. She can drop that article on the desk and say, well, when I was NBC News' housing price specialist, right? She doesn't lose a deal after that, because it gave her credibility that no other realtor in her area has. And it took a week. Like this is how fast this can be if you're providing value and you're genuine. I can tell you, and you can build these relationships on a higher level because you're on LinkedIn. You're not always going through the gatekeeper, right? Trying to get to the people you want to get to. There's an online business publication in New Jersey called njbiz.com. I use LinkedIn to build a relationship with the publisher, right? Not the article. And I always go to see who's writing articles about LinkedIn and make sure I'm connected to them. But I built a relationship with the publisher and said, I'm in New Jersey. I help businesses in New Jersey. We should do some workshops around LinkedIn. It has turned into such an amazing relationship. And it just started with me providing them value, sharing their articles, tagging him, and we've done workshops now for thousands of people, right? As a result of my building relationship with them. And I get all the free publicity because they're marketing it on this, and by the way, most local publications, like this is a local business publication, are owned by bigger publications. So most of the things I've done with them have been pushed out nationwide to all of their publications. So, it really truly just comes from connecting authentically and providing them value, not pitching them, just saying, just connecting with them and providing them value.
Right. So I know that you share a process and you teach a process for actually doing the outreach and the connection and that whole, kind of action taking piece. Mm-hmm. What about the mindset around fear? Because I know that is huge. It's like, okay, yeah, I know I can do that, but I'm not doing it because I'm afraid, right? I'm afraid I'm not an expert yet. I'm too new. What do I have to share? What if I do share and I get, tons of negative comments? How do you deal with that?
Oh my gosh. I love that you're asking this question. Honestly, it is a bigger part of my students' success than the strategy.
Yeah.
The mindset piece. If they don't have the mindset piece nailed, they're struggling with the strategy and they're struggling with the success. Most people look at LinkedIn as their resume, right? And your resume is all about who you used to be. I want you to be like, one of the first things we do in our program is we actually take you into the future, right? And we're like, okay, it's future you. It's 12 months from now. And you just had the best year of your life. You made $500,000, $1 million, whatever your goal is, your target income goal is. But not only that, you're really well supported by a team and you spent more time on vacation than you have in years. Like you just had all of the things that you really wanted. Like feel the feels, know that person, feel that person, see that person. And then go back into your LinkedIn profile and update it as if you are that person, right? Like you need to show up like you are. You're not gonna, like, if you show up with the energy of as soon as, it will never come. You need to show up with the energy as I'm already there, right? And it is not easy. It is not easy. I can give you story after story after story of people in our program that have joined the program, and just the mindset piece alone, or just shifting their energy around their profile from resume to brand, the huge wins that they're having because of that. Now, we actually have a mindset coach in our program because this is a big piece of it. I had another call with somebody today that is not in our program yet, but hopefully she'll join us. And she was just like, I'm not P.T. Barnum talking about how great I am all the time. I'm like, dude, like you have to. It's not like, I don't want you to brag, but if you are already feeling that, everybody that is interacting with you is feeling that too. Right. Mm-hmm. So the energy you put off has to be the energy of somebody that is so confident that they can support them. And that starts with their profile and it starts with all of that. And it's not about bragging, it's about owning. And that the mindset is such a big part of that. And when you shift that mindset, I have a woman in our program who's a teacher. She has this great YouTube channel. She teaches other districts across the country how to use video in their educational curriculums. But in her own district, they see her as a teacher, right? They don't really see her as anything other than a teacher. She's not even doing the work other districts hired her to do in her own district, right? Because they see her as a teacher. And just shifting her LinkedIn profile, the assistant superintendent reached out to her and said, how do I not know you? Like, how long have you been working here and why don't I know you? And she's, and then he went home and talked to his wife and said, tell her the story. And she goes, I don't know how you don't know her. I watch all your videos, right? But it came from her shifting her mindset and just stepping into that place with confidence, right? Mm-hmm. That is now immediately shifting. Once the energy shifted, all of the relationships started shifting around it.
Absolutely. So I love that. So shifting from profile to brand.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
Or resume to brand. Shifting from a resume, your resume is all about who you used to be. I want you projecting your brand into the future. I want, like, dress for the job you want, right? You want to project the future you. I don't want you to lie. I don't want you to make stuff up that's not true. but I want you to step into that role with your profile and build relationships from that place, right? Connect with the publishers of these publications, not just the writers, right? Connect on that higher level. Feel like you deserve to be doing that. Everything changes.
Absolutely.
LinkedIn is just like the tool. LinkedIn has nothing to do with any of this. It's just, it just makes it easy for us because we have this cool tool.
Right. It's just a gathering place, right? And I think that, you know, the piece around mindset is so important, and you have to love, you know, this example that you give around, you know, shifting from resume to brand, but then if there is fear there, you need to push through the fear and do it anyway, right? Because that's going to allow you to expand, right? In a way that, you know, just holding back and just, you know, staying where you are isn't going to allow you to expand. So, you know, I think there's something to be said for just diving in and doing it as well.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, you know, here's the thing. It is a lot easier to do that with support. You know, it's a lot easier to do that with support because it's emotional, right? It's emotional. We've been telling ourselves these stories of, you know, we look in the mirror and see all the things wrong with us, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have to cut my hair and I need to lose 5 pounds and I don't like this shirt on me or whatever. We need to start looking in the mirror and see all the amazing things that we do. And sometimes, and when we start to do that, it's emotional, right? Especially if we've had years of people telling us otherwise. But the success that's there for you when you start to see yourself the way what's possible for yourself, other people start to feel that energy too. And, you know, things just start happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's crazy how even when you put something out there where you feel like, oh my God, that's terrible. I look terrible. I sound terrible. How people actually connect with the authenticity and your energy, right?
Yes.
That's what they're connecting with. They're connecting with your energy, right? Not the way you look, not, you know, the way you sound, with the energy.
Yeah, because here's the thing, they can relate to it. It's hard to relate to something where you've got bells and whistles and beautiful, like, and I mean, not that you shouldn't have intros and out, not that you shouldn't try to do a good job with your branding and your videos. If you can do that, do it. But don't think you have to do that, because people can relate to what they feel is genuine and authentic and, you know, kind of raw and emotional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Karen, thank you so much. I always enjoy our conversations, especially about this topic that, you know, I feel like so many people want to be able to leverage LinkedIn, but they don't know exactly how to do it. And knowing that it's not like me going and trying to, you know, get a client, you know, straight away from LinkedIn. It's more about building relationships.
Right. And and when you play you can get quick wins. Let's be clear. You can get quick wins, but when you play the long game, that's where the money is. That's where the big money is.
So leverage audiences and also publicity. That's
and then the third step down is, of course, connect with people that you think would be good clients for you. But that's not at the top of the list. I don't think that's where LinkedIn's massive power is. Their massive power is in the relationships.
Awesome. So can you share with us, I know that you have a freebie to share with everyone. And also I want you to share with everybody where they can learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So the best way to learn more about this process is I have a free masterclass. There's some, like, I hope that when you're watching this, you're shifting a little bit. You're shifting how you thought about LinkedIn, right? Because to me, that's where this starts to change. So I have a free masterclass on the 5 shifts I think that you know, that to get started quickly. And you can get that masterclass at, I call LinkedIn my money tree. So it's waterthatmoneytree.com. Get you to that masterclass. It's complimentary. It's on me. And we're not selling anything on that masterclass. If you want to know what it's like to work with us, we'll tell you how to, you know, book a call and talk to someone, but it's just truly value. It's just truly content. That's waterthatmoneytree.com. And I would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. Like, I'm at Karen Yankovich everywhere. My website is KarenYankovich.com. You know, listen to my podcast, Good Girls Get Rich. That's another great way to get some good information at no charge, right? And yeah, and connect with me, message me, let me know what you've put into. I'd love to know if you've tried any of this and how it's working for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Karen. And I'm sure
it's always so good to be here with you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.